So we come to our Saturday superlatives, looking back at last Saturday for week 4. And amongst them, Cameron Ward of Incarnate Word, 352 yards on 29 of 49, a couple of touchdowns. And words I never thought I'd be saying, Sean Clifford of Penn State, 19 of 26, 401 yards, 4 TDs, and an interception. Dylan Leary, who has been impressive on and off for a while, 32 of 44, 238 yards. So a lot of sort of dinking and dunking, 4 touchdowns, and he made some good decisions. Connor Sampson, Leatherneck from Western Illinois, went 33 of 48 for 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also had 1 interception and a long pass of 29 yards. So mostly, once again, being efficient and taking what was there for him. One of my favorites in all of college football is Western Kentucky, formerly of Houston Baptist, Bailey Zappy, who went 28 of 40 for 435 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a long pass of 39. Also had, I think, 1 rush for 6 yards. Tulsa's Dallas Brin, first time I've really paid attention to him, 17 of 25, 355 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I'll be continuing to monitor him. And the young man I've decided to simply give him the nickname as advertised. Bryce Young, quarterback of Alabama, 20 of 32, 313 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, and the crazy thing is it didn't seem particularly spectacular. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, once again, a guy that I've really seen grown over the years, 18 of 29, 251 yards, also 2 touchdowns. He had 16 carries for 30 after sack yardage for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to fight his way into being an interesting middle round prospect. Spencer Saunders of Oklahoma State, 22 of 34, 344 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown as well. Charleston Southern's Jack Chambers, my first time seeing him. He had a heck of a day, 405 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, also 54 yards rushing and another touchdown. Baylor Romney, obviously of BYU, 20 of 25, 305 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it looks like they may finally have settled at that position. He also had 2 carries for 10 yards. Khalid Morris, a former Virginia player who's transferred to a junior college and now has found his way to Virginia Union and tore it up. 20 of 31 for 390 yards, also 5 touchdowns passing, a long of 77 yards. Jason Shelley, formerly of Utah, has found his way to Missouri State, 19 of 29, 281 yards, also 2 touchdowns, 17 carries. He's always been a good athlete, for another 62 yards rushing and 2 more touchdowns. He bears watching. I hope he gets into the right all-star game. He could be a guy that pushes his way into day 3 developmental QB talk. Casey Thompson. Looks like Texas may have accidentally finally decided on playing the right quarterback. 18 of 23, 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, also 7 carries for another 29 yards, once again taking out sack yardage, an additional touchdown. Emory Jones, another interesting guy who looks like he's rounding into form. From Florida, 21 of 27, 209 yards passing, but also an additional 144 yards rushing with rushing TD along with 2 passing TDs. Malik Cunningham, speaking of dual threats, 25 of 39, also 14 carries for 56 yards, 2 touchdowns passing, and 2 touchdowns rushing. And James Blackman, speaking of Reclamation Project, right, formerly of Florida State, 23 of 37, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I really am interested to see, he's always had talent, he's always had a very strong arm. If he truly rights the ship, that's another guy who'll push his way into day 3 discussion. Those are my Saturday superlatives looking back at week 4.